Man, this shit looked like it would hurt. Having to retract and stab people with these all the time? Yeah, no. Fuck that.
What is up, everybody? RandomRandomMan here, bringing you my review for Logan. Now, the plot does basically follow our title character, Logan, aka James Howlett, Wolverine, what have you, played by Hugh Jackman, now a limo driver in a distant future where he has been tasked to getting a little girl named Laura, played by Daphne Keane, to a sanctuary in North Dakota called Eden so that she can be safe. Along for the ride is Charles Xavier, played by Patrick Stewart, who is but a shell of a man he once was, and Logan himself is also slowly dying. Looking back at the many X-Men films we have gotten over the past decade and a half, I've pretty much mostly enjoyed all of them. The first one I thought was good, second one's even better, the third one, not the best. X-Men Origins Wolverine, we do not speak of. X-Men First Class was the entry that really got me to loving this franchise in terms of film. Though Wolverine, directed by this film's director, James Mangold, I did enjoy. X-Men Days of Future Past is definitely my favorite of the series thus far. If we're counting Deadpool, I really enjoyed that one. And even X-Men Apocalypse from last year, I really enjoyed as well. So with this being the supposed final outing for Hugh Jackman as his iconic role as the Wolverine, also applying to Patrick Stewart having his final appearance as Charles Xavier, I was super excited. Right off the bat, it goes without saying that Hugh Jackman is simply perfect in the role as Logan. He's made this character his own for the past decade and a half, and in Logan, he delivers his most layered and emotional performance to date. This is probably the best time he has ever portrayed this character, for having a lot of shit on his plate. This character has been through a lot. By this point in this timeline, in the already convoluted mess of storytelling that the series has been through, you can tell that Logan is a lot older, he's had enough, he's deteriorating inside, but what Jackman delivers in this role, he gives it his all, and if this truly is his final time as the character, he has gone out with a beautiful swan song, to say the least. Similar things do apply with Patrick Stewart's portrayal as Charles Xavier. This is a much more hardened and really famished Charles Xavier that we've seen. Of course, we know that Logan is a hardened character who gives zero fucks. He is really out of control and has a mouth of a sailor. But what Patrick Stewart does here, you see how far down he has come, where he himself has come to the point of swearing a lot, really losing control of himself, as well as he goes through a lot of seizures. But I think, like Jackman with his final portrayal as Logan, Stewart goes out with a bang too. Special mention does have to go out to Daphne Keane as the little girl Laura, and she handles her action sequences supremely well. Flat out awesome when she gets into action. But I also have to mention how she delivers her performance as a character, because she doesn't say much, really, in this film. A lot of the performance is mainly emotional or physical. You see it mostly in her eyes and her mannerisms. But that makes for a child performance that is one of the best I've seen in recent memory. The way this film is even set up, with its writing, direction, what have you, it's a different X-Men movie for sure. It is unlike any other film within this extensive franchise, where this sets itself up in a modern Western approach, reminiscent of films such as Hell or High Water recently. In fact, there's even some clips shown of the classic Western Shane in the middle of this film. So you can tell that the roots that this movie wants to pay tribute to are present. The slower approach to this movie, pacing-wise, I have to mention, in that the movie runs at about 2 hours and 15 minutes, but I never got bored, really. In between all that, we do get some some action scenes, and this movie is rated R for very good reasons. This is an uncompromisingly brutal film. I'm not just talking violence-wise. It is all well shot. It is so visceral in the way it wants to show us all the injuries, limbs, heads flying off, anything like that. It is satisfying to any fan who's been waiting for a hardcore Wolverine movie like this. I'm also talking about how brutal this movie is emotionally. It will really get to you at times. When the movie continues on, you see that these characters have gone through so much, and when it all culminates by the end, I will say it's something that is satisfying, to say the least. Another technical merits, the cinematography is really glorious in showing off its brimming locations. Also with the action, the score I have to give a shout out to, in that it sounds like a neo-western score that was so fitting for what this movie has to offer. It is all well strung with its editing. Really, the issues I have with this film are mainly stuff that we've seen in other superhero movies that it doesn't take too many liberties with. Mainly the villains. Now, the villain that we see early on is a cyborg played by Boyd Holbrook. Really like this actor, but he's nothing more than a henchman, as there's another person that shows up about halfway through this film. I do not want to spoil who he is. That is more of an antagonist too, but it really goes nowhere with him. Even with that minor issue aside, I can still say that the pinnacle of what this movie does achieve is that it doesn't feel like a regular superhero or a comic book film. It feels very much like a modern western with mutants thrown in there, but it's refreshing, so refreshing enough that we see something different that these kinds of movies can do. This is certainly one of my favorite X-Men films to date. Is it my absolute favorite? I would have to think more about that. A lot of excellent factors are within Logan. James Mangold really crafted something that makes for an experience that is not only the end of an era for a few characters, but also a new beginning for what other comic book and superhero films could do. Deadpool already gave us a taste of that last year, but this backs it up through and through. I highly recommend it. My final verdict for Logan is 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of Logan, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.